So this is another woke lunatic. I think they're just scam artists. I think they're just scammers. They're hustlers. These people. Let's take a look.
As a racial justice advocate, I'm often invited to give talks or to do workshops where I talk to white people about race. A big part of my praxis is to offer real life stories, examples, that type of thing, that help white people to be able to identify white supremacy in everyday life. My husband's family is white, and I often use the cultural differences between my family and his family as a way to help white people see their whiteness. There's one example that I use that always gets a ton of pushback. My husband and I were late to our first Thanksgiving with his family. I say late because it started at 12. We got there at 12:10. But whenever we got there at 12:10, everybody was already sat down and eating. I didn't know that. I use this illustration to point out that different cultures have different understandings of time, lateness, and what it means to be polite.
No, they
Without fail, a
don't.
white person.
No, they fucking don't. That's retarded. There's that word retarded again. No, they don't. People all over the world have the same understanding of time. When you have a meeting set, you show up at that time. Otherwise, people get upset because you're wasting their time. This is everywhere. It's like they think that merit, like the idea of merit, white people invented that. Of course not. Like, that is the most racist thing I've ever heard. I mean, how offensive is that to any other culture in the world? White people invented merit. White people invented the concept of time. This is bizarre. How is this not incredibly offensive? Isn't that what like a Klansman would say? Like, isn't that what an actual white supremacist would say? It's so bizarre. Everything is just a mirror. It's like they're screaming into a mirror and they don't recognize themselves. It's fucking crazy.
Will push back and say that lateness is impolite. I always use this as a teachable moment. I usually ask a series of pointed questions that challenge their assumptions. Sometimes it takes a lot of work, but by the end, they're able to identify how white cultural dominance
By the end, they're just sick of fucking listening to you, is what's going on.
Works in this one small area of life, which opens the door for them to start peeling the onion. As a racial justice advocate, I'm often invited.
Good Lord, I'll bet you anything that if she walks into a restaurant and she sat there for half an hour without a menu yet, I'm betting she internalizes some of that white supremacy in a real hurry. I bet she becomes a white supremacist real fast. It's just bizarre lunacy. And what would be the effect of this if everybody just deciding, well, it's white supremacist to show up on time, you know? It's white supremacist for the surgeon to show up on time. Oh, that's white culture, and that's bad. So I just show up when I want. I'll bet if a pipe bursts and a plumber says he's going to be there and he doesn't show up, I bet she internalizes some white supremacy real quick from that too. I'll bet you there's a bunch of situations where people are wasting her fucking time and she internalizes a bunch of that white supremacy because that's normal, that's human, that happens to every single person in the world. What a bizarre fantasy land these people live in. I think what it is, it's just simply an excuse to be an idiot and be an asshole all the time. It's a way to blame everybody else for your own failures. It reminds me of this game that my youngest son, back when he was like 5, he created this game, and it was diabolical because he changed the rules every single roll of the dice to benefit himself. That's what this is. This is a child rigging a child's game. You could never be responsible for anything that you do because it's always somehow a teachable moment to teach people that they're wrong because they're the wrong color, right? And everything they do is wrong. Unless they're doing it, in which case it's right because it's them. And they can never be wrong because identity bullshit. I'm wondering if I have more rant in me after 3 hours and 45 minutes, but it's fucking maddening, isn't it? It's maddening. It's so transparent what the motivation is here, how manipulative this is. Again, they don't use language. The modern left doesn't use language to communicate. They use it to manipulate. Obviously, it's so transparent here. What kind of an idiot can't see it? What kind of a fool would allow themselves to be lectured by this person, by this scam artist, by this con artist? I mean, are people really that afraid anymore of being called an ist for just being a normal person? What portion of the population has the spell broken for? The spell doesn't work on the magic spell of calling you the magic word, the ist or the phobe. You know, the magic spell that's supposed to shroud your mind in confusion and fear so that you'll just, sit down and shut up and do as you're told. That spell is broken. Apparently, there are still some people pathetic and cowardly enough for it to still work on, I guess.